Alright, response video to the Modern Mystic. He doesn't tend to watch videos, which are responses to his videos from me, which is kind of weird. You know, it's delicate. It's very delicate. We did leave a comment. Somebody left some sort of comment about, not taking the slings and arrows of other people too seriously, and he had a reasonable comeback of something like, well, it all kind of adds to your palate, gives you the advantage, and it's kind of funny that he can gain no palate extension through more direct interaction between me and him. Somehow I don't do much for his, I don't inspire him, not much of a muse to his constructive development as an artist, which is, like I said, kind of, ironic seems a good enough word to use, so I'll use it. It's suitable. But I really do like Nick's videos. I like the way he processes life and information. So they always do something for me, generally speaking. I mean, yes, there's been videos that I just, no way I can make anything of them. And I have been in the past perhaps rude and harsh. And probably deserve some, that's not a nice thing to do, kind of bullshit, but whatever. Like the neighbors, I am what I am. And what are we doing this for? I like this subject just because I've always been doing these personal reflection, calculations, judgment things, whatever you want to call them, concerning my actual motives. It's always a fun. Well, it's not fun. It's challenging. Do you have the guts to say, "Oh, ew, I did that for just that"? Ew. It's sort of like finding too young a girl attractive or something. You feel kind of creepy, and yeah. So, it's my theory, rationalization now / rationalization, right? Because theories on these subjects are always a little bit how much of it is just self-serving. And how much it's just very difficult territory for humans to deal with who's running the show, the lizard or the ape or the smart person thing. And there's certain places where I can see, it becomes kind of obvious that principles only have so much power. They're a great a way of creating a symbol of your ideal of being, of doing, accomplishing. But in a sense, the accomplishment you always kind of have to turn the food into bird feed, dinosaur food. You always have to kind of turn the incentives into metaphors or analogies to what the lizard and the ape are doing. You have to keep them entertained, essentially, and you have to motivate yourself by motivating them. So some people probably aren't going to get what I'm saying here because they really don't understand my lizard ape human thing. But we're driven by these more primitive parts of our brain, are the things that actually get us to get out of bed, and they actually get us to do things. And they're functioning on a very crude I want kind of level. And and they just can't be taught new tricks. It's the mechanics of your subjective self, and you might be able to make distinctions between what are called, there's lots of ways to qualify people who are high functioning versus people that are low functioning in terms of whether they have a mechanism of desperation running in them, like whether the lizard is afraid or the lizard is comfortable. There's people who are basking all the time, and there's other people who are a little panicked because, they're not getting fed enough, and they realize they've got to get moving, doing, and so I would argue that there's two ways to approach the play of the game, from under the board or above the board, how you want to look at it in terms of your starting position. And so you could say there's insecure people and secure people. And so I guess I would argue that there's a certain insecurity to functionality, that those two things kind of have to go together. You have to be a bit insecure to need to get value out of your existence. So, I mean, you can end up going weird places with this kind of a conversation, in that people who don't appear to be insecure are very insecure. So, I mean, it's like finding some code number, that completely explains Mozart. It's just like, oh, he just used this code number and translated everything with a code number, and he didn't do anything at all. It was really simple. And so you don't want to turn something complicated into something too simple. But there's the truth that sometimes things that look impressive, it really isn't impressive. It's just desperation. It's just some kind of more crass thing. And I can sort of see that in like I said, it bothers me because I can come up with scenarios where my principles don't win, and it pisses me off. I can imagine a circumstance. Let's just say that I have this theory of equality of sensibilities and brains, functional. That it's kind of all the same. I know it as a principle, and I know it rock solid as a principle. I mean, I just have no doubt about it. But if I had to actually do some of these things, it would really depend on whether I'm going to get some ego juice out of it. I much rather, like, say, if I have to jump in front of a car, I'm not going to do it for some, fat, smelly guy named Joe, but I'll do it for the chick, and it's those kinds of hypocrisies. They're not really hypocrisies, but the reveal is there's the lizard again. He's just saying, you must convert this into lizard talk. You can't have a conversation about this principle shit because I'm going to modify it to suit my agenda. So, people hate these reductionisms, but I mean, it's the game metaphor works in ways, because very often a player is on the field and he knows what he needs to do. I mean, sometimes the home run hitter has to bunt and he just hates it, and he often does it badly just because he just hates it so much, because there's no fun in not being the hero, in doing the service work, doing the infrastructure construction rather than getting to press the on button. There's just so much more fun, in just hitting the buttons than having to do the work of making the buttons do something. And so you can sort of see that in our life. In the gameplay, we can know some hard goals in our head, and then we have to kind of convert those goals into, I want to score the goal kind of ego thing. I want to accomplish this. I need to accomplish this. I won't feel right about myself. I haven't done my job. And there's a mechanism inside of us that just that's hungry for that gold medal, and then it's hungry for 2 gold medals, and it's hungry for 3 gold medals, and while I'm at it, I might as well get 6 gold medals. You just don't feel... There's always somebody hitting a mark higher that says to you, I got to do better because that guy's got more goals than me. He scores more than me. And it does come down to that sometimes, where we just, that we just want to, we're just not satisfied, even though we would have been 10 years ago, or maybe we would have been 10 years from now, but right now it's not good enough. Now, I guess that's another part of it, is that it does kind of flow in a weird kind of, peaks and troughs in terms of the context of your perspective, and how much you can just appease the lizard, the ego, with rationalizations, little bits of crap like it doesn't matter, and oh, the universe is going to blow up in 10,000 years, so who cares, and this is going to happen, and that, and so you just kind of wipe out all of this stuff to some extent. You can maintain that for a while, but it sort of just grows back. But it is interesting, these reactions, because I've always liked art, to look at. You say, wow, that's really, but part of me always says, that son of a bitch, how the fuck did he do that? And kind of always thought in the way of, damn, he's totally baked my ass. I mean, there's no way I'm going to catch up to him. There's a part of you that just says, it's competitive. That's in the game with the other things, and is being pushed to try to get some kind of something out of yourself, and there's a sort of sense of, am I doing that properly? Have I accomplished? And I think it's just as a practical fact, I don't think you would do a damn thing if you didn't have that mechanism. You would just walk through life, open whatever doors you had to, and turn keys, and watch porn and cartoons, and you wouldn't be bothered with trying to do something with yourself more elaborate than just entertain yourself. So yeah, artist maybe is just desperate, insecure. Maybe maybe there's some other way to describe the psychology of the programs that compel some lizards to get out and run around and chase shit, and some lizards just chill, man. And I think that just might be the differences. I suppose it's more of an ape conversation than just crude lizard. I mean, the lizard is the core of it all, but the ape is this, has a whole lot more psychology to work with in primates, in terms of the hierarchy and all that kind of crap. But motivations it's complicated. So I guess the theme that I've been pushing, that I think is a nice piece of art. There you go. The one I'm sort of proud of, put it on a pedestal in the museum thing, is just the realization that you have to filter everything down to the crude mechanics. There's a crude agenda, and you do have to play it. You have to manipulate the environment that your lizard and ape lives in, like they're in a zoo. You have to give them a tire swing, and give them some things to play with, and you have to give them an environment through your rationalizations or your honor codes or whatever you want to come up with, that gives them the illusion, that they're not just running in the wheel, that there's a reason to run in the wheel. I mean, the gerbil has a reason to run, and you want to give it that reason, except try to fool it into running towards your principles. Run towards the principles, but they'll never understand the principles. They're just runners. I didn't get to that exactly the way I wanted to get to it, but there's a crude mechanics to their function, and the object of the intellect is to delude your ambition, your competitiveness into actions that your smart brain knows are the real deal, the real objective, the goal. So you have to make it's just making the ape feel good about bunting. It's giving your brain some sort of rationalization, some sort of information that somehow this is what you'll get a trophy for. So in a way, you just have to kind of acknowledge that in some ways we are trophy hunting always. You know, that there's, I suppose the other little museum piece is my argument that there is no altruism. There's no, it just doesn't really exist. You know, we have to make ourselves want to be heroes or want to be generous. It's part of something we end up needing to be able to do it. You have to make yourself want it. Yeah. Anyway, probably enough. You know, it gets a little... it's a tough area of human psychology. Yeah, I've been, you know, like I said, I have been looking for my motives, you know, since I was 13. And it's just hard to do because, you know, there's so many places you look and you just say, damn, I was hoping I was more of a person than that. You know, you just don't like some of the truths that exist here, that, you know, you do act out of resentment, and you are often just trying to one-up somebody, and, you know, it's just not very flattering. I'm often, instead of my brain controlling the lizard's controlling the brain, and damn. So anyway, enough said. Until next time. Thank you, Mr. Beardy Man, for your contribution to my brush collection. Such. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But your beard looked just magnificent. Yeah, the whites coming in just right. So yeah, it's very good, very good. Carry on. You're doing very well. Damn it, fucker.